Okay, so joining us up on stage is brother of Tyson, Tommy Fury. We've had an absolute Fury fest over the last few days. We've had John on a couple of times. He's been on spectacular form. Roman, Tyson a few minutes ago. Now yourself, Tommy. Thanks for coming over. How are you, first of all?
I'm very well, thank you. Always a pleasure to be in Saudi Arabia, and it's just nice to take a back seat and watch Roman do it. You know, we're normally here for Tyson or whatever. I boxed that here. So it's nice to sit in the crowd and watch Roman come on leaps and bounds. You know, he's had no experience in the amateurs, so it's all exciting because you don't know what you're going to get. He's learning on the job completely, so he's doing marvellous, holding himself really well.
For us, we kind of feel like any Fury is destined to box professionally at some point. So even though we know he's got no amateur background, we kind of felt like it was probably going to happen. But I mean, did it look likely to happen to you? Were you surprised when he decided to box?
Not really, no. I mean, a few years ago, he was over 20 stone, fat, doing nothing. And now, you know, he's lost a whole lot of weight, he's in shape. And boxing is something that we all love to do. We all love to fight, so it's inevitable, really. Like, why not? You know, and that's the whole thing here. Why not? If you want to get in the ring and have a go, have a go. It's there. So listen, it is what it is. He's doing really well, and I'm very proud of him.
And of course, Joe Parker's on the bill, somebody you know well, somebody who you trained around. And when you look at the entire bill again, it's a very strong card, isn't it?
Yeah, very strong card. I think it's, like you say, one of the best cards out there. There's so many great fights on there. As you say, Joe's in a tough fight against Zhang. But you know, I definitely want Joe to come through and win and box well. And Joe's on good form. He'll have a lot of confidence going into this fight from obviously beating Wilder. So I think it's a great matchup. You know, I think for me, that's probably, obviously aside from my brother's fight, that's probably the fight I'm looking forward to most.
A lot of the fighters on this card have boxed over here before, but some of them won't have. You've done it yourself. How much of an advantage is it to be used to these surroundings? How different is fight week here than it is at home?
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. You know, out here, you know, my fight with Jake Paul out here, that was a massive event. So they really do go above and beyond out here, and that's why it's special. Because look at these undercard fighters. You know, look at the attention they're getting. The media's packed for all these guys, and it's not the main event. You know, I don't really think it'd be like that in the UK. You know, it's showing them time, giving them great promotion, and I think it's great for them.
And what's next for you? What's the plan?
For me, I'm healing up. I had surgery on that about 7 weeks ago, so I'm out for a good 6 months, and then after that, I'm looking to get it on. I think me and Mr. Paul's got some leftover business, so I'm sure we'll tend to that.
And in terms of Tyson, obviously you're close to him with him being your older brother, and you're both walking that path as pro fighters. How frustrating was it for him, and for all of you actually, when the cut happened and then all the rumour mill starts and the conspiracy theories? It's not an easy situation, that.
No, definitely not. I mean, you know, you had a fair amount of people coming up with all rubbish, like, oh, he's cut himself, he's done this. Nothing of the sort. Any man that can go in the ring with Deontay Wilder 3 times is not scared of what he's coming up against. He was in phenomenal shape, absolutely, probably the best shape of his career. He was ready, and I think if that fight would have gone ahead, it would have been over in 6 rounds. But listen, cuts happening, it's a fight game, it is what it is, you know, it happens. So we've got a new date of May 18th. He's still in great shape, as you can see down there. So it's just, you know, it's a bit longer than we all wanted to wait, but the same outcome is going to come.
Well, just watching the face-off, and this is a really, really good fight, actually, that we haven't spoken about yet this week. Israel Madrimov up against Magomed Kurbanov. There's a little bit going on behind the scenes, but they're here now and they're ready to go. Interesting to hear Eddie Hearn announce this as being for the full WBA title. So Jamel Charlo was always going to vacate it, but a few days ago he hadn't done officially. It's a great fight, that. Russia up against Uzbekistan, Matchroom and World of Boxing up against the Russian Copper Company and the Titovs. You know, it's a real Game of Thrones clash.
Listen, that could be the best fight of the night. Kurbanov, good fight. We know him from the Liam Smith fight. But Madrimov, to me, is someone I've been impressed from the very start when he turned pro. I thought he was so strong. If I had to pick, I think I'd go with him.
I'd go with Madrimov, definitely.
But I think that could be that fight will be explosive.
Dave, you've seen a reasonable amount of Madrimov, I know.
It's very impressive. Yeah, he's a well-schooled fighter. He can bang. He's smart, and I know he's there. He's going to be very, very focused on this job tonight. But that extra carrot of you're going to get the 154 title at WBA. You know that Crawford wants to step up. You know that there's a potential there for absolutely blockbuster fight for himself there. So he's going to go out there and put it all on the line and put on a really good performance, I think.
I was just thinking there, if you're Terence Crawford stepping up from welterweight to super welterweight, I don't know if Madrimov have a bit of fun. I'll be picking for my first fight, but then Terence Crawford's special, isn't he? And that's what special people do, I guess.
Exactly, that's just exactly what they do.
Speaking of weights, how do you do light heavyweight? Because I look at the frame on you now, just standing looking at you here, and 12.5 stone can't be easy.
It's a struggle, but to be honest with you, I think I've outgrown that weight. I killed myself last time. I took 3 stone off in camp, and I'm not a man who really doesn't get out of shape. I'm always in the gym. If you follow me on social media, I'm always training. I live to train, so I just think it's very unrealistic for me to get down to that weight. Plus, the past few fights that I've been having, it's sort of like catch weights here and there. So I'm comfortable around the 195, 200 pound limit now. So I feel like I'm bigger and stronger at that. But I'm just dying to get back in the ring because seeing all this, it's absolutely crippling. I want to be back in there as soon as possible, and not at light heavyweight because that's a bit too much for me to take on at the minute.
We were talking just before you came over about how everybody on that table there at the press conference seems aware of the fact that, not that they're required to go out and really try and entertain, but they just want to. They look at this stage and they want to win, and they want to win in real fashion. I mean, was that the kind of pressure you felt back in February when you were fighting over here?
I mean, the pressure I felt when I fought over here, I think I had the weight of the world on my shoulders. I had to beat a man that everybody hated, because don't forget, this is my career. I'm not a YouTube man, even though I've done 2 fights. I've come up the same way as these guys have done. I've sat on that table, I've fought journeyman, I've fought amateur, I've won titles as an amateur, so I know exactly what they're feeling. And these last 2 fights that I've had, it's been at, it's as high as profile fights you're going to get, regardless of the people who's in front of you. So I think, the main thing with boxing is you've got to learn how to control your nerve. Because if you get underneath them bright lights in the main event and you can't hack it, what are you going to do? You can't go any forward. You've got to learn to control that. And for me, I've only had 10 fights, and I had 10 amateur fights. That's the number one thing that I've learned to control. Because in these massive pay-per-view fights for the world watching, that's the main thing. Forget the ability, it is what it is. If you can control your mind, you can get a lot done.
I was over here for that fight in February, and there was a lot of talk in the build-up about how, mostly from your own family, about how if you didn't win by knockout, then you need to walk back to Morecambe. And I remember talking long walk. I remember talking to you during the week and just kind of checking with you that was just build-up kind of, hyperbole, and that you weren't buying into that. And yeah, exactly. You said you weren't. You needed to get the win, and if the knockout came, then great. And that's what people have been kind of talking about with the top of the bill with AJ against Ngannou. People have been talking about knockouts because this is billed knockout chaos. But Joshua, he just needs to win, doesn't he? Win and look good, ideally, but you don't want to be taking chances against someone like Ngannou, because that's what he wants you to do.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, if I was talking to AJ ahead of this fight, I'd say not to get involved with him. Keep him at the end of the jab, box him. You're the boxer in there. You're the one with more experience, Olympic gold medalist. Don't get involved with him. Because a man of that size, if you get involved with him, if he clips you, you're going over. Because a man that size, he don't care how good he is and how good he isn't. If he hits you anywhere on the chin, it's game over. So keep him nice and long, keep the straight shots going, twists and turns out the way, and that's it. Just don't try and get involved with him. Don't try and put on a show, because at the end of the day, AJ's in a very good predicament at the end of the day. Tyson has stated he wants the winner of these 2, so we could finally see that matchup that we've all wanted to be seen for years. So just keep the straight shots going and be nice and tidy with it. And if you win on points, great, whatever. It's a win's a win. I'm pretty sure he'd rather a win than end up on the canvas. But I think AJ's going to win this fight if he doesn't get involved. If he gets involved, it could be a very different story.
Okay, Tommy, thanks for joining us. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Good to see you.